So, I wanted to put this video on this channel because I'm working very hard to make my main channel not be about drama. There's a lot of people on my channel, especially since I have 1 million followers now, who are interested in game development. They are interested in Operation Harsh Doorstop. They are not as interested in drama videos, at least not as much as they used to, because the people who follow my primary channel now are not what my old following used to be. I would say the majority of the people who used to follow me have probably unsubscribed. I can see it in my analytics dashboard. The majority of people who follow me now are people who are interested in OHD and interested in Unreal Engine. They do not know, and frankly, they don't care about the vast majority of tactical FPS YouTuber drama. They just want to see OHD get better, and they just want to see cool development tools that they can use to make their own games. So, with that in mind, I'm going to be using this channel to post rants or official responses, so that way I can leave my old channel unaffected. And to be completely transparent, that is also one of the reasons that I've been unlisting a bunch of drama videos on my old channel. It's not that I don't stand behind what I said. I stand behind everything that I said. It's just I don't want new viewers who really just don't care about any of that stuff to come and look at my timeline and see things that they're just not invested in at all. They want to see tutorials. They want to see development showcases and stuff like that. They don't want to see drama videos or YouTuber beef that has nothing to do with them. And that's totally understandable. So that's why I'm posting here. Now, with the latest video that Big Fry made about me and about Operation Harsh Doorstop, there's a lot of information in that video that's just wrong, or maybe he's just misremembering or misunderstanding things. I'm not entirely sure, but I think 90% of what most people are upset about, at least what I see in the comments, is they don't think Operation Harsh Doorstop is in the state that it should be. And luckily, in 16 days from now, when we release our update, we're going to be addressing just that. It's not going to be perfect. We're not out of early access yet, but I think people will see exactly how much progress we're making. But especially since a lot of people are just interested in seeing Operation Harsh Doorstop get better, that's going to be basically my entire focus going forward. I don't want to get drawn into an endless rabbit hole of nitpicky drama when I really should just be focusing on our game. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's also why the response video, this, is going to be fairly light. But I also don't want to leave people hanging. I don't want to just have absolutely nothing for people who want some kind of response to know what's going through my head. I don't want there to be nothing. So I am going to lay out a couple of ways that if people wanted this to progress or like move forward to some kind of resolution, here are the options. First and foremost, I do still firmly believe that a number of content creators, including Big Fry, are violating FTC guidelines. Now, the only reason I feel like it's okay to talk about this publicly is because those content creators started this conversation by publicly criticizing me for breaching FTC guidelines. But every single time that's happened, I've gotten excited because I'm like, okay, that's great. If we're actually going to start calling this out, are we going to start calling out like all of the other people who are breaking FTC guidelines? And the answer has always been no, which doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if you watch Big Fry's video, you'll notice the part where he gets to the section regarding Actman, he actually agrees with me about that situation. The Actman was someone who was paid by Delta Force, did a paid review, and did not disclose it while praising the game, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. Now, the reason Big Fry even got caught up in that entire situation is because Big Fry, after I said that there are content creators who were being paid off by Delta Force and lying about it, retweeted me saying that and said that I was a liar and that that wasn't happening. But as you can even see with Big Fry in his own video, he acknowledges that it did actually happen. The things that I said were going to happen did actually happen. Actman came forward and he confessed. And I can assure you, what happened with Actman has been happening with a lot more content creators who do not come forward and confess. Now, my primary issue with Big Fry isn't just that I believe that he has done things that could very well be considered a breach of FTC guidelines. But he is also extremely aware, I would say even more than I am, the number of people who are doing this, but he is not coming forward and talking about it. Even in that video, you can listen to him talk about how he met Ackman at these events. He's talked to these people at these events. And I know that he has because I was at many of those same events. However, despite him knowing all of this, he will still do things like on Twitter retweet me when I say, hey, there's a bunch of people on contract and they're not telling you that they're on contract, and he'll say that I'm lying and that nobody's on contract when he knows that there are. He knows that there are. And the only reason that I could think of him not being honest about his knowledge of these things that are going on is he doesn't want to burn bridges with those creators, he doesn't want to burn bridges with the agencies, and he doesn't want to burn bridges with the games. Now, the difference between me and him is that I am okay with doing all of those things, but he's not. And that's very frustrating to me because he knows probably way more than I do about this, but he's not talking about it because he doesn't want to get in other people's business other than mine, I guess. Now, he goes into this whole thing about how I've accused him of doing a sponsorship for Delta Force. And quite frankly, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I was very suspicious that he was doing a contract for Delta Force. But the way everything went down is after I did my original tweet and I said, hey, there's people on contract with Delta Force that are promoting it who are not telling you yet that they've already signed contracts. And then he retweeted me and he said, you're lying. And I know that he knows that I'm not lying. So my first reaction was, okay, is Delta Force contracting you as well? And then he said, no, they're not. And my response to that was, are you lying? Because you have lied to me before when you said you weren't taking a sponsorship and you actually were. And that whole situation was Arena Breakout, which I still firmly believe you signed a contract with Arena Breakout. You did a whole bunch of promotion for them. Maybe it was in the contract. Maybe it wasn't, because you're not going to show your contracts, right? Nobody's going to show their contracts. But the point is you signed a multi-$1,000 deal for Arena Breakout. You did all of this coverage and attacked Escape from Tarkov while you were working for them, and you did not disclose that. And you only disclosed that you were working with Arena Breakout after you had done all of this other stuff, attacking Escape from Tarkov, promoting Arena Breakout without saying that you were on contract with them. I still firmly believe that what you did there was wrong. I firmly believe that. Especially if you believe the things that I did with Blacksite was wrong, then what you did was also wrong. And it's insane to me that you're not taking responsibility for that, but whatever. As far as you contracting for Delta Force, if you didn't contract for Delta Force, that's great. And I never accused you of being sponsored by Delta Force, but what I have accused you, even though you actually have been sponsored by Delta Force, but what I have accused you of is I know that you know other people who are being contracted by Delta Force. You are in these programs. You are in these agencies. I'm surprised they didn't offer you a contract, but whether they did or not still doesn't mean that you don't know that the things that I have been saying are true, and yet you're still trying to defend these people for some reason. All of that aside, this is the only way to go forward. So I will say this, because this is just going to run in a circle forever, or it's just going to stop and we're going to move on and forget about it. But if you can't move on and forget about it, there's only one way, and I will give you this as an option. The only way that I would walk back on this, the only way, is if you and I were to pick a licensed attorney who we both agree on, who specializes in federal trade law, and we were to have this conversation, and we were to ask them these questions about whether certain things are in fact a violation or not. I do not trust Sid. I do not trust you. I do not trust OnePeg or any other content creator. And you have to believe this, whether you think I'm crazy or delusional or whatever, you have to at least respect that I'm being honest about my beliefs. I firmly believe that the things that you've done, based on my interpretation of FTC law, based on the lawyers who I've spoken to and their interpretation of FTC law, based on everything that I know, I firmly believe that you were in violation. And the only way that I would walk back and apologize, which I would absolutely do, is if we had a meeting with a licensed attorney, I don't know, legal or something, but he's not going to care about this stuff, and they were to actually clarify these things. I personally believe that if you sign a paid contract, you should be disclosing that you are on a paid contract with that studio until that contract is over, and depending on the contract, maybe even beyond that. So if you do a single sponsored video for $10,000, between you signing that deal and you putting up that video, you should be disclosing that you are being paid by that studio for any other videos about that game. I didn't used to believe that that was required. But based on the things that I've seen and the people that I talk to, I actually do think that's what the FTC technically requires. It's just nobody does it. And I feel confident that if you were to talk to a licensed attorney and you were to ask them this question, I bet they would say the same thing. I bet they would say, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, but nobody does. Which in my opinion is BS. Yeah, because, I mean, if we're not here to abide by the law, then what's the freaking point, right? So, find me a licensed attorney, get them to tell me that I'm wrong, I'll apologize on everything, 100%. That's the only way forward. All right, this is, I think, the only real response that I feel compelled to give, and from this point on, I'm focusing on OHD, man. Yeah, that's it. All right, see you guys again soon.